This is a Renew original recording. For millions of football fans, 1996 was the summer that football almost came home. For Tony Adams, it was the year that changed his life forever. Welcome to Believe in People. My name is Matthew Butler and I'm your host, or as I like to say, your Facilitator. This episode was recorded live from the Hull Unity Day hosted by the Fold Trust. We were honoured to be invited to record our second ever live podcast with former England captain, Arsenal legend and Mr. Arsenal himself, Tony Adams. Our conversation centred around Tony's latest book, 1996, and one passage in particular stood out to me. He writes, at 5 p.m. on Friday the 16th of August 1996, alcohol stopped working for me. It made me wonder whether alcohol had really stopped working, or whether it had finally done exactly what addiction was always going to do. I put that question to Tony.
Yeah, I use different things to change the way that I felt. I never felt good enough. I never felt whole. I never felt... That's why I played football. And I was getting a lot of pats on my back because of of the football and not of what I was doing and not who I was. So I gravitated towards things that made me feel good. And people saying, oh, you're a great footballer. Oh, that sounds good. Not that you're an insecure, big-nosed, big ears, kind of cumbersome, kind of uneducated, someone that can't talk and have panic attacks. It didn't kind of sit well with me. So I'll gravitate towards the ego. So what was happening, my ego was going up and up and up, and my self-esteem was going down and down and down. So I got to that place after 12 years. So you just don't jump into it. So it'd be my final book. And the year of 96 was a massive year for me, but you just don't jump into 1996. We've all got a journey to get there. And this book is a celebration because I've got out from that broken man and asked a power greater than me. And I was one of the lucky ones. I had a spiritual experience on that August the 16th, 30 years ago now, where the compulsion to drink completely left me. I was 29. I've been in prison, blackouts, intensive care, 29 stitches. I've used everything, and they did. They all stopped working. Sex, everything had stopped working. It stopped me feeling better, alive. Like John Travolta for the older people in the room, Ryan Reynolds for the younger ones, I suppose. I felt like I got that substance inside of me. I was like, whoa, here we go, king for a day, and it all stopped working. And right at the end when I was broken. So I did that year. That year I put my first wife, because I met her in blackout. It's not a good start of a relationship to meet someone in blackout. I took her back to my house, and then the next week she was spending a lot of time in pubs and clubs. So she was a barmaid, and I went back there the week afterwards, and I chatted her up, and she went, "You talked to me last week. What are you talking about? We went back to your place last week." Oh, did we? Oh, so I married her. There you go. So it's not a good start of a relationship, and her drug of choice, it was cocaine at the start, very quickly progressed onto crack, and I was me booze. What she did for me, she propped me up. I found someone that was, in my eyes, not as good as me. He's like, oh, I'll never be a drug taker. You are shit, you horrible people. I'll just obliterate myself with alcohol and do all the things. It was funny because I was the one in prison. I was the one, being unfaithful. I was the one doing, peeing myself, and she's the one with the problem. So I put her into rehab because she had a problem and not me. It's all that I felt my whole life. I didn't know how to do it. You've asked me one question, haven't you?
No, it makes my job so much easier the more you do. So I'm happy with that.
But I've always felt like inferior and superiority. You know what I mean? Like I'm better the worse than. I've got to be better than you. I've got more money than you, which makes me better than you. I've got less money than you. Oh, I've got to do better than you. You're a better player than me. So, it's like absolutely drove me insane. All that kind of judgment, all that. The head is on fire. What was on fire? Absolutely on fire. I had no peace of mind like I've got in my life today. I've cleared the wreckage of the part through the 12-step program. But in the January of that year, I put her into rehab. And what do you know? She got clean and sober. And she said, well, I'm not coming back to a fucking drunk like you. I went, oh, sugar. Oh, okay. Okay. And I had rejection, which I've got no tools. So what do I do with rejection? You get shit-faced, and I spiraled again, and then blackouts, I'm trying to bring up 3 children at this point on my own, which was a disaster. And thank God my mother-in-law, she came round. I passed out one Sunday afternoon. I'm lying lying on the floor, and she's like, "You drunken bastard!" She's whacking me round the face. What are you like? Jesus, you're drunken. And she takes the kids away. But what she did, she didn't realise. Oh, Barbara, bless her, she's passed away now. But she saved my life that day. She gave me a number. She slipped it in my pocket, and she said, go. Sorry, going to get a little bit emotional. How does that come across on oh, Jesus. She saved my life. There's a couple of periods of my story that I get a bit emotional, and that's one of them. She said in her language, she was a East Ender, and I suppose, and she went, this guy, you got to go and see him. He's, he used to do drugs. He was a drug dealer back in the day. He's not had a drink. He's gone a bit weird. He's not doing any drugs now. He goes to meetings and NA and GA or AA and he's not had a drink for about 5 years. And he's a psychotherapist now. And you just go and see him. Just go and see him because he knows. He's a bit weird. Like you need help. Come and eat him. I didn't know, but she did put the number in my pocket. And in the April that year, so the January, the wife's gone into the rehabs. Then she's rejected me. Then the kids have gone. It's a great remover. This illness. It'll take everything from you. Your sanity, your self-respect. It took it all away from me. My dignity. It took it fucking away from me. All of it. I've shifted walking down the street. You've seen them. That was me. It's on me all fucking weird. Fucking fucking mental, absolute mental. So great remover. And then in the April, when I saw him, and I always remember, I went into his one-to-one. It was a bit of a one-to-one therapy. He passed away. That's why I get a bit teary. He passed away November last year. And the guy saved my life. Excuse me. He gave me it for nothing. Gave me the tools, and he taught me how to stay clean and sober a day at a time. Oh dear. Late night. I blame England for this. Jesus Christ. So I went in there and I said, I know how to get shit-faced, I know how to play football, but I don't know who I am. I don't know. So we had the big Euros, that's in 1996, we had massive Euro competition, so I used football to change the way that I felt as well. It was my first drug of choice, this thing that I became, I was like, on the pitch, was comfortable, I was, fantastic, head the ball, kick the ball, come on, better than what, I didn't care about anyone else, I just wanted it, I was driven, obsessed with it, every day, every minute, off the pitch. Didn't know who I was. So I met James, but I didn't have no defence from the first drink. I've said it twice now. And as soon as Gareth Southgate missed the penalty in 1996, I was handed a Carling Black Label, actually, in my hand, and I went on a 44-day bender. And basically went to a place where a lot of us in the room have been, and thank God have got out the other side. And at 29, I didn't want to be on the planet. It was too painful. I didn't know how to kill myself. I didn't know how to die, but I couldn't live. And like I say, I was 29, and at the end of my drinking, if I took brandy, I'd spew it straight up. So I used to put it in my Guinness to keep it down. So I was having fucking insanity. You know, who does that shit? Other than addicts. You know, put the brandy in the Guinness, keep So my drink's there, and like I say, it's 5 o'clock, 16th of August, 1996, and Bill the Governor came over and said, "You all right, Tone?" And I'm crying. First time, 29 years of age, and the tears are coming down my face. And I had an ultimate surrender. I had, my words, it's the best I can do, I'm sorry, articulate this. It was just in a moment of, I'm fucked. I'm done. Enough. I could go on. You get the point. Just done. And I prayed. Did I pray? I don't know what I did. It was something inside. I kind of went, because I prayed when I was 14 to get into the England under 14s. And I got thrown out the next day for bad behaviour. So I kind of went, God, sling your hook. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it my way. So 15 years, I'd been doing it my way. And externally, it looked like I was succeeding. Internally, dying. Absolutely dying. So I got to that 29, and I got to that social club on that August Friday night it was. And I started to cry, and I surrendered. And the minute I did that, I started to win. It's so paradoxical, this program. I came in with a guy called John C., Boxer John. He's middleweight champion of the world, he was. He won't mind me declaring his anonymity. He's out there. He's 44 years clean and sober now, Boxer John. And he always talked about throwing, in my industry, in his industry, to throw the towel in is the ultimate, surrender. You just don't do it. You do everything but that. And little did we both know that by doing that, by surrendering to saying, I can't, something else can, a little window was broken. It's like going back to Carl, that I had a guy earlier, and saying that my favourite words as a kid was, I know, fuck all. You know, my beautiful thing today, just at that moment, just at 29, I didn't know. And I surrendered. And my life's been so good since. Absolutely, a day at a time. Life happens. They say, it gets better. And I always say this. I said, my life, there's been ups and downs. I've lost my mum and dad. It's really painful watching my mum die, in particular of bone cancer, for 9 months, holding around, not picking up a drink, everything inside you, screaming, get out, pain. I used to run from it. 2 seconds, go and have a drink. I can't do all that stuff now. I've got to cry. I've got to be there with her. But I was there. I was crying with her, and it was painful for 9 months, but things happen. So you don't get better, but what's happened? I've got better. And that's the secret. I can handle absolutely everything. I've recovered from this illness, but it's contingent on me keep coming back, still doing things like this. So I finally kind of finished the last book off. And I did 6,000 words in one sitting just to explain this kind of provisional story. And then I go into the year, which I've already mentioned, and then I got recovery in August. And I was outed by the media. This is why I'm so out there now. Early recovery. I heard at the very beginning 90 meetings in 90 days, which really stuck with me. And I'm pleased it did. And I just got in the meetings. I was in the meeting. Then I wanted to be the best person in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know what I mean? He said, yeah, great, go for it. My James always used to say to me, he said, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You had some good qualities in there that kept you driving and kept him going. So don't throw them out. So I wanted to complete the book. 6 weeks out, I was open to the whole world knew and took away my choice of coming out. But it was for me, it was the best thing that happened, because they say you're only sick as your secrets, and I had a lot of clearing up to do, because I was front page of the Sun every other week. You know what I mean? I was plastered on it. Been with this stripper, been with this sex worker, been with this. You're like, oh, Jesus, have I got read another thing? So actually to get it all up and get it in the first book called Addicted was a kind of dumping process. So that's kind of dealt with. That's in the past. That's not who I am. That was the sick Tony. And now I started created. And the second book, Sober, was about all the tricks of the trades. It was celebrating 20 years of recovery, Sober was, and it's all the good stuff. It's all the good stuff that them outside don't really good, but I do recommend that all you go and buy that one, because it's the secret. It's the keep coming back. It's the 90 meetings in 90 days. It's helping other people to help yourself. You know, it's all about recovery. You know, it really is, and it's a fantastic book. So I just wanted to finish this one off, to go through the year of 96, and then at the end of it, just to kind of close it all off with gratitude, and because sometimes we're perceived, and the stigma around addiction in the world out there, and I'll let you have another question, I will. The world out there, I think they've still got a little bit, you know, don't kind of like us. They don't pay, you know, you go into government and people like that, and hopefully there's some commissioners in the room here, and they're like, you're giving it to the sickos, the addicts, you know, what are you doing that for? I tell you what, I'm the most decorated Arsenal football player in the history of of the club, okay? 140 years are coming up, or whatever it is. Recovery is the best medal that I ever got. You know, this stuff is gold. It's absolute gold, and I've got it. I've won the. You know, why wouldn't you want this stuff? Why wouldn't you shoot from the rooftops? Fucking yes! What a goal! What a goal! Anyway, I'm quite excited about being in recovery. I don't know if you can tell, but it saved my life, and the ripple effect of that is what I'm probably, you know, sitting here today with. That it just ripples out. You know, it ripples out. People come up to me before the meeting and before today and go, oh, I was I'm 7 years. Oh, I'm 14 years. Oh, I'm 22. I heard you. Oh, I read the first book, because the book got more people clean and sober than I ever did. It sold 400,000 copies, Addicted, the first book. I got £250,000 for it. I gave it to Sporting Chance to start the charity. It's 26 years. They put 50 addicts through their clinic a year. They're 1,300 into one-to-one therapy. And going forward, the ripple effect of that is just amazing. Go on, ask me a question. Go on. It's a podcast, for God's sake. No, it's supposed to be back and forwards.
It's interesting, but the thing that I do find that I probably want to explore a little bit more is you talked about, you know, Southgate missing the penalty, and the incredible. I mean, you talked about that moment with an incredible perspective, but the bender, the 44-day bender that happened after that, do you think it'd have been? It's weird to deal in hypotheticals, but do you think it'd have been different if England had won Euro '96, Gareth had scored, you lifted that trophy as captain, or do you think the loss kind of accelerated your recovery? Have you thought about that moment? How it could have been different if there was a victory there instead?
Yeah, I think money also can accelerate the illness. You know, I had money, so I just went back and used again. You know, didn't have to steal. I suppose I did the 20 questions of are you an alcoholic back in the day. I did one when I was in denial, and I got 3, I think, 20 answers. And then I did one about a year into recovery, and I was up around the 17, 18 out of 20, whether I'm an alcoholic. And the big one that I couldn't ever see was about the have you ever stole to enable you to drink? And And I drank in a bar. I drank a lot of bars, but I drank at one of the bars in Emerson Park was horseshoe shaped like that. And when Bill, the governor, went round the other side of the bar, we used to lean over and fill it up. That's not feeding, because that's a laugh. That's a joke. See the justification of that? I fucking stole the beer. He's around the other side. I'm filling it up. That's stealing, for God's sake. So I'm 20 out of 20. But I also put in here, for you guys, for you civilians that are asking the questions now as well. And I thought it was important to try and educate you guys. What I try to do is tell my experiences, because you can't lie with that. None of you can come back to me and say, no, you didn't piss the bed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If I start to say, well, I think Harry Kane's better than Guardiola or whatever, you're like, well, actually, I think he's better than him. You know what I mean? I start to get, you can argue with opinions. So I stick to my experiences, and hopefully you've identified or empathized with them and kind of go, yeah, me too. So that's what the books are about. But where this one is a little bit different, at the back, I do go for, because I've experienced, and I've got a guy now that's just gone into a coma, a friend of the family, drunk himself into a coma now. And yeah, yellow, 53. He was a skier when bless him. And, I'm praying for him. And when he's ready, hopefully he comes through and I'll be there by his side. But I think, and judging my wife's a civilian, and she's a civilian, and she doesn't understand, she'll never get it. She is enough. She's got natural tools emotionally. She's one of these people that cries at funerals. I'm like, why do you do that? I remember when my dad died.
Isn't that a normal thing to do, cry at a funeral?
I didn't.
Okay.
So my dad died, and about 7 months later, I'm sitting in the island of Capri on holiday, on the balcony, having a coffee, and floods of tears, crying my eyes out. And the wife's come, she said, well, you're all right, you're all right. What's up, Tone? You're all right? I said, my dad's died. He died 7 months ago. Why don't you cry at funerals like we all do? It's there for that purpose. But I'm used to suppressing. I've had a lifetime. I know so well how to suppress shit. I'm a master at it. Absolute master. First with football, then drugs, drink, suppress. With feeding and suppress. Panic attacks, any situation. Keep it down, keep it in. Thank God there's things like this today so I can get it all out. Spray it around the world. Get it all out, and I stay clean and sober, and the head gets cleared. James always used to say, we all need a place where we can speak the unspeakable. That's a safe space, not here probably. I'm 30 years now. I know I'm a little bit freer with a few bits of my story but we all need somewhere that we can go. Some people, I didn't have a family that could do that. Some people have got families they can talk to, and mums and dads and people that they go. I couldn't go to that. I just kind of came inside, went inside very early age, and it just went all there. It went in there. So it is important for me to try and explain the stages of the illness and the decline and the wellness, to the civilian. And what I did in the big book of Alcoholics, and I'm getting one of like them old timers now, he took a quote in the big book on page 84 of the big book. You've not got a copy? Jesus Christ. Go and get a copy, for God's sake. But there's a bit in there around different types of people, I suppose. And my wife's one as well. She had a glass of wine maybe about 2004, I think, and she, and I don't think she's drunk it since. You know, she's one of those that puts the cap on the bottle and puts it back in the fridge and stuff. And you're like, you know, I get really annoyed with that. Well, you're not going to finish that. What the fuck? You know, and I'm getting the real one. You know, they throw this beer around and all that. I'll be there thinking, where? Jesus Christ. I'm looking for sober events now, how much I've changed. I'm like, well, throw it over me stuff. I wouldn't have done that when I was shit-faced. Well, you're wasting it. Why are you wasting it? Stick it down your chops, you idiots. Anyway, so that's the addict. So I wanted to explain that there's normal, take it or leave it. They can take it or leave it. I don't know, but you're probably normal, you know. You have a beer, my son does, you know. I've got 6 kids. Most of them are good. My eldest is in recovery 3 years, but the others are like, they have a beer with their mates and they don't drink again, you know, for months. For months and stuff, and they got no, you know, not doing acid or, you know, he's not doing drugs, and it's like, wow, and they're good enough, and they feel okay in themselves, and they're confident, and you're like, who are you? You know, who are you? So they're not addicts. They're not. They don't need maybe a 12-step program. Then you've got the kind of guy that heavy drinks and gets on it from time to time and occasionally, you know, goes too far and he'll go out and he'll get drunk and then it'll get really bad and his wife might say to him, look, oh, geez, you know, you better do something about this drinking. You better knock it on the head. And he does, or he reduces. And he might go. Might have health problems, and he might go to his doctor, and his doctor might go, "Ah, yeah, your doctor, you mate. You know, if you don't stop drinking, mate, you're going to have." You know, you're going to have a real cost to your life here. You know, you're going to have real problems. And he knocks it on the head. And then you've got the addicts. You know, I heard once, you know, if he told me you've got a year to live, if you keep drinking and you've got a year to live, my first thought is, I've got a year. Hallelujah. Here we go. Let's do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like when your wife comes up to you and says, look, you've got to stop drinking. And you go, bye-bye, wife. Bye-bye, wife. They're gone. Mm. You know, we've crossed. When I crossed the line, I couldn't stop. And I know that was one of your questions you asked me earlier. You know, why don't you stop? What is wrong with you? I'm bloody ill. I'm ill. I can't stop. That's the definition of addiction. That's a definition. I want to stop, but I can't. I'm obsessed with it. I'm emotionally closed down, mentally obsessed, and spiritually flawed, I suppose, because of the shame and the guilt. There's a load of shame and guilt in there, but it's got me to my bottom. The shame and the guilt got me to the bottom, got me to my rock bottom, because I'm not like that man. I'm not like that man that used and drunk, you know what I mean? I'm not that man. And waking up and having done the shit that I did, it's like, I can't be in this world knowing that I did that. So I needed a clean house. I needed a clean house because that wasn't me. That was the ill Tony. That was the very sick Tony. And I'm not sick today, and I don't do that shit. Funny that, huh? Funny that. Yeah. Go on, ask another one.
Tony, do you know what?
We got no time.
That was the easiest podcast ever. I've got to know 2 questions. But I know my producer's meant to wrap it up, but obviously, thank you for being so vulnerable. And one of the things that we like to do is because these are emotionally charged conversations, is I like to finish the podcast with 10 random quick-fire questions. Just for quick fire, you've got one word.
Oh, no chance.
Right, let's try it.
29 years, I couldn't talk, and now I can't shut up.
Should we try it?
Go for it.
What's your favourite word?
Bollocks.
Least favourite word?
Tottenham.
So, he said that was going to be it. He said it was going to Derby Tottenham. Tell me something that excites you.
My family.
Something that drains your energy or bores you.
My family.
What sound or noise do you love?
Yay!
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh.
When do you feel most like yourself?
When I'm meditating.
What if you wasn't a footballer? What profession would you like to have attempted?
A recovering alcoholic.
What profession would you not like to do?
Practicing alcoholic.
And then lastly, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I was expecting you earlier,
Nice.
but well played.
Brilliant. Tony, thank you for joining us, People.
And if you've enjoyed this episode of the Believe in People podcast, we'd love for you to share it with others who might find it meaningful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and leaving a review will help us reach more people and continue challenging stigma around addiction and recovery. For additional resources, insights and updates, explore the links in this episode description. And to learn more about our mission and hear more incredible stories, you can visit us directly at believeinpeoplepodcast.com.